Thank you very much for this comment. It's one of those that I'm calling very refreshing. Refreshing because they're inviting us to think more critically about the problem of drug addiction in Mombasa County. Such questions are inviting us to understand more broadly and more clearly why substance use disorders or addiction disorders are more prevalent in Mombasa County or in the Coast region than any other part of the country. And I'm hoping that a local researcher would run into this comment and pick their interest and perhaps pursue it as an area of study. So I'm hoping there can be research around this particular question. And the question might be framed like this. Is it possible that the food colouring found in Achari and Mabuyu that is consumed largely in Mombasa County contributing to high estrogen levels in young boys and men that is then contributing to the uptake of substance use disorders among these boys? Or the question might be that is it possible that the prevalence of substance use is higher among young boys and young men precisely because of high estrogen levels that result from consuming high amounts of Achari and Mabuyu in young men in Mombasa County? So for the comment, I'll read it. Mombasa mothers giving their boys food high in estrogen, female hormones. That's food with colouring, Achari za rojo, Mabuyu rangi. So what I've come to learn is that the food colouring that we use in Mabuyu and Achari contains a substance that behaves very similarly to estrogen in the body. And so when you eat Achari, then your body responds as if it's been given estrogen. Now, we know that estrogen is a female reproductive hormone. Women need it for their reproductive functions, for their reproductive cycles throughout their life. And so high levels of estrogen in a woman is good, it's beneficial, it's protective in some aspects. But men require very little levels of estrogen, very low levels of estrogen. And so they require more of the male reproductive hormones. Now imagine if a young boy, 15, 16, eats Mabuyu every day that has the food colouring, which contains a substance that behaves like estrogen in that young boy's body. They're likely to start behaving like a person with high estrogen levels in them. So we're likely to see mood swings in this young boy. Okay, we're likely to see irritability, we're likely to see problems with sexual function. And so here, if we're looking perhaps at young boys, school-going children, is it, from the age of, let's say, 13 to 20, and then young adults, 20 to maybe 25, if these boys keep eating Mabuyu every day, keep eating Achari every day, and these things contain the food colouring substances, which contain substances that behave like estrogen in the body, then we're likely to see problems that probably we won't see in other demographic areas. And so this one is now asking us to evaluate the socio-demographic factors that might be contributing to the uptake of substance use among young boys and young men in Mombasa County. And it would be important to evaluate our own food colouring substances locally to be able to see how much estrogen is in those colouring substances and how much needs to be consumed, Mabuyu and Achari, for a person to start behaving perhaps like a person who has estrogen. And so once we have studies that show that there are high levels of estrogen in food colouring substances, then we might be able to discourage our young boys and our young men in the Coast region, in Mombasa County, to perhaps not take Mabuyu and not take Achari.